Alright, it's the 1st of February of 2014, and I'm starting day 3, the cleaning process on the boat. Now today I thought I'll go back and I'll do exactly, or what I probably should have done at first, which was just kind of get all the trash out and finish getting the water out. Um, just kind of little trash like this and, worthless ropes, just things like that. Morning, Shadow. Oh, here's something interesting. Catalina yachts. This was made in California, I guess. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna kind of get all like the old bungee cords and just get some of the trash out. That's probably what I should have done first, like I said. And then I'll get back to scrubbing. I just pulled the rudder off, which is what I've been meaning to do for a minute now. To stop, more corrosion on it, or just doesn't need to be in the water anymore, at least for now. If you can tell here, this is kind of where it dipped into the water just ever so slightly, and you can see there's a lot of good grime on that. And it just kind of slid right off, pulling it up, and right here is where the arm was attached, just held on by this thing, so it wasn't complicated. There's a nice little safety feature I discovered, which is this little skinny rope here. This thing's really heavy, by the way. This little skinny rope here, held on by this thing, and then there's a tiny little cleat that this thing holds on to. So if in case your whole rudder falls off at one time, you got this little guy hold you there. He'll save you. I like that. I thought that was cute. I like safety features that probably don't work if they're required to work. But I guess it's the thought that counts. Thank you, Catalina. There's some serious, I don't know whether to call this declamation or it ran into something. It could be both. But it's not moving at all, it's not loose, it's just busted. Did some research on rudders, and usually they're the thing that gets saturated with water the most, like they retain a lot of moisture, so that's usually a problem over time. But I can't imagine that this is in any need of being replacing as far as functionality and goes. I'm sure it looks like it's in kind of bad shape, and I'm sure it is, but it's not going to be under too much stress, and I'm not going to try to cross the Atlantic with it, so it'll probably be fine. Well, I just untied the bimini top and had my fingers crossed, and here it is. It actually looks pretty good. There's some some dirt on it here and there, as I'm sure it's collected, and God knows how long. But it actually feels pretty good, and it's still solid, so I think I can just wash this off and be able to keep it. Yeah, I'm actually really proud of this. The hardware looks in good condition, and it's certainly blocking out the sun, so I got no complaints. We've got a fully functional bimini top. Today is really humid and very, very little wind. Here's a tree for reference. There's some gusts here and there. Check out the water. It's all glass. I thought that would make it a perfect day to give the sails a raise and see what's under these covers. Yeah, well, like I said, the other day when I felt them, they felt damp and not very stiff. So yeah, we'll raise them, see what they look like, yank them off, spread them out in the front yard, see what happens. Alright, that'll be later today though. Alright, well it's about 3:40, day 3, and I guess I haven't really done anything. I emptied some more water out of places, but we did go shopping, and we bought some some stuff to fill screw holes in, and bought some acetone for cleaning stuff on the outside, and bought a sander so we can sand the stuff. I'm just really tired. I don't even know why, I'm just tired. I haven't eaten anything today. I had a small pizza. I don't even know. Just... But, we've got some plans for things. For instance, this used to be a giant hole with 4 holes around it, and we put a Bondo on it. All-purpose putty. He showed me how to do that. So, yeah. He taught me how to fill holes, which is good because I can start doing that on my own, which there are a ton of. I also did not mention that we raised the main sail today. There's some clear patches where it's been attempted to be fixed. There's a couple of rip spots. Maybe worth something if we can fix it up. I don't know. But it was raised today. And whatever piece is meant to hold the boom in place is not there. Maybe there isn't supposed to be one? How can... I did empty out the water that was sitting in this area over here, right next to the companionway. And I cleaned one side of it, so I thought I was gonna do a before and after kind of thing. As you can see, I cleaned this side, and that side is not clean yet. There used to be a bunch of water in both those areas. So now there's just a little bit here. And every time I swab it out, a little bit more gets in it, and I do believe that's from just kind of all the water and moisture that's all up in here, and then here is, continuing to slowly seep into that area, which is exactly what was happening over here until I cleaned it, and now no more water is seeping into there. So just another place where I can say that there isn't a hole, which is good. Yeah, I got back in there. I also got in this whole area, so go me. I'm going to finish cleaning here, and then clean in here, and that'll just look prettier, because I'm sick of seeing that every time I step in here. It makes me feel like I haven't done anything. Okay. Alright, back to work. I did today what I probably should have the first day, which was get all the water that I can out. I realized, oh, water under deck is causing all this mold, so we should probably get the water out. That occurred to me today, so I got the water out today. Let me show you what I did. You remember earlier I showed you the comparison of the left side and the right side there. So I just finished that up. Cleaned out that back wall as well. This may have been a hole at some point, and it's been patched up. I don't know, but it looks like a patch job. But it doesn't seem to be causing any problems. A problem I did see arise, which is these two running tracks here are, I believe, the lowest spot on the boat in this area, so they're obviously going to be the first things to fill up with water. What I noticed is, even after I cleaned it, for reference, I found this plastic, thing under here, and I believe that's what was holding all the wires at one point. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to trash that for now. I noticed that even after I cleaned them, these were still filling up with water. And I don't think it's from a hole in the hull. I do know that this side over here, this all gets wet after I dry it off, and it seems to be coming out seems to be coming out from right under there. You can see it's a little bit wet. So I think it's coming out from under and behind this, which answers why this is all rotten looking. It also could be, see, he's a foam here, which I learned today is for ballast. When I press on it, it's just a little bit wet in spots. So this could be kind of soaked up with water, as is the one up there. And the water now, I do know when I was cleaning back here, when I was scraping water, something got in there. So I know water probably is in here, you know, maybe and back in there, and who knows how long that goes. But there's probably water in it. And that water is slowly but surely seeping out of there. So I imagine it's going to be continuing to slowly but surely seep out of there, and maybe at one point it'll stop. But until then, it'll just be kind of, not even a trickle, it's more of just an ooze. And as far as over here, that is a spot that fills up with water very slowly as well. And that, I believe, is due to the fact, I don't know if you can see it, but there's this hole right there. And that, I believe, follows the swing keel up. And probably inside this thing and all the way up, maybe to over there, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's the same thing, because if there's any water, you know, back behind there, it's all going to come down and seep through there. So maybe I'm dealing with a lot of water, you know, very slowly draining, which is not a problem, which is not a big problem. The main part is I got the big standing water out. Now I can just kind of, you know, pad it as needed as the days go by. But yeah, this is now no longer green. And I got, you know, that wall and this wall back here and all up in there, and so that's clean and that's clean. This isn't clean yet, but I got the water out of it. And this isn't clean either, but I did get the water out of it. And this isn't clean either, but I did get the water out of it. So, that means for the most part, I also got the water out of that thing. As you can tell, you know, it's just probably something holding up the swing keel or whatever, but yeah, there was a bunch of water. That was filled with water. That is now no longer filled with water. Oh, and here's a giant bucket of all the water I collected today. That's how much water was in my boat. That much water. No good. Better now. That's that for today. Like I said, we got a lot of things planning. I've you know, purchased some materials today. George next door gave me a lot of pointers as to what to do about fiberglass and patching holes and stuff. So, yeah, I can get on that. But really, he said don't worry about washing the deck, you know, because you're just going to sand it and then have to wash it again anyway. So that would be wasted motion. However, regardless of what happens, I'm cleaning the inside of this boat because it's icky. It's not clean, and it's mine. And I want it to be clean because it's mine. When it is clean, it'll be mine. It's mine now, so I'm deciding that I want it to be clean. A thing to note, this here, the place where we said water was coming in the other day, that's all nice and dry today. So what I'm thinking is it is coming from here, and when this gets all wet, that gets wet. Then this gets wet. Then that's get wet. So I think it's the whole wetting process is a whole process thing. Improvements, little by little, are good. But, right. George told me today about a good little tactic to do for cushions, which is fit a piece of plywood to what you want your cushion, you know, shape to be. Then glue down, you know, just some foam cushion stuff, and then you know, put whatever cushion cover, you know, you want the material to be, put that over it,
and tack it underneath. That seems like a really simple way that I can quickly get some cushions in here. I'm sure there's better ways, but that's a good way, and I like that way. And I think that way will be fast and efficient and will allow me to get some cushions up in here, which means the sooner I get those cushions up in here, the sooner I can start living in here, which I really like to do. I honestly think that this space can easily be made into a comfortable space. You know, mainly just for sleeping and, you know, just spending some time. One thing I am going to do, I'm not worrying about a complete overhaul of the whole thing before I start sailing. What I would like to do is fix it enough so that I can get it sailing, and then worry about fixing the rest of it later, you know, while I'm sailing it, because that'll add to the incentive whole part of it. But it's hard. It's it's not, no one part of it is hard, but it's going to be work. It's going to be a lot of work, a lot of consistent work, which, I mean, I'm totally cool with, but I guess watching, you know, videos on YouTube about how to do all this stuff, you know, was more comfortable than actually doing it. You know, now I'm actually doing it, I'm like, wow. Because I see a bunch of old people online doing this, and I'm like, how do they, that's gotta be rough on old people, but I'm doing it and I'm feeling sore. So go them, and go me. I'm doing it, and this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm doing, and that's great. I'm actually doing something I want to do, and I have the means, you know, to keep up with the costs of it right now, and I have the time, because, you know, work isn't that much. It doesn't, you know, take much time out of my week. And it also puts a little money in my pocket every week, you know, just for, you know, grabbing some extra supplies, you know, cleaning supplies and, you know, all the putty I'm going to need and all the paint I'm going to need. But cleaning, I think we're going to clean. I'm also going to do the next, after the interior's clean, I'm going to work on screws, holes, and patching those screw holes. Like, for instance, I would like to be able not to have the tarp on anymore, because that just looks ugly and it's bothersome, and it's a handicap, because I'd like to fix what I need to fix for the tarp to work. However, I probably will have to keep that tarp a thing for a while, because I don't want any water getting into the cockpit area, because that means this area over here will flood, and that's no good. So the tarp's probably going to have to be a thing for a while, and I'm okay with that. Maybe I could build it up, make a shape out of it. That'll all be cool. I'm glad I have work now. I have things that I can do, you know, with my time that are constructive, and that will ultimately lead to something. It feels good. It feels great, actually. So that's all good. Work is fine. I was a little tired and stressed earlier because of the whole buying things. I don't like buying things. I don't like being told what to do. Like, I can get told what to do on other people's things. Like when I go to work and I get told what to do, that's fine. That's their workspace, not mine. This is my workspace. I like to do it my way, because it's going to be mine. It is mine. And that's really cool. That's cool. I still haven't, like, fully grasped that. Like, I know it's mine, but it's kind of like, I have the option to carry this around with me the rest of my life. That's an option now. I have that option. That's really cool. That's a really cool thing. I have a boat. Oh, we were going over the causeway today, and I saw other boats on the water, and, like, the last time I went over the causeway and saw boats on the water, I didn't own one. So every time we went over a causeway and looked at water, I looked over the water and saw boats, I was like, oh man, I really want a boat. I really want to be able to sail. That'd be really cool to do that. and I'd start like dreaming and fantasizing about my boat. So with this time, we went over a bridge, and I saw boats, and I immediately started doing that. I was like, oh man, I want a boat someday, that'd be so cool. And then I was like, oh wait a second, I have one. It's at home. I'm cleaning it. So like that struck me, like that kind of, clicked in my head. So, I'm just, every day I clean this, it kind of becomes more mine, and it's feeling more mine, which I'm super stoked about. So that concludes day 3, and I'll see you guys next time.